Let's get after it. Hot topics of the day is what we always like to start with here to sort of get into that little flow and that little mojo. And you see the background here every day that I'm coming from. No surprise, I'm an Eagles fan. So anytime there, Teddy, I can take a shot at these Giants or try to critique those guys just to the north of me right now. I like to do it. OBJ, hot topic. Eli Manning, hot topic. No surprise, Teddy. Giants didn't fold down the stretch, played it hard. Record wasn't what it was supposed to be. But the hot topic of the day for us, I think we can agree on, is should Eli Manning come back to those New York Giants, Teddy? I want your take first on this.
Sure, but first I got to make fun of you because of the fact that how long you been a sports bettor, Donnie? You've been a sports bettor for a while. You're not spring chicken.
For a while, yes.
Decades?
For a while.
How can you possibly be a fan of any team at this stage? There's no fans for sports bettors. Yeah, I used to be a Michigan
look,
fan.
you can't let the green get in the way of the fandom, even though the Eagles are green. But Teddy, anytime I get to take a shot at the Giants, I feel the liberty to do so. And today, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with it.
I'm sure you will, because the Giants have a significant problem. Eli Manning 2018 stats are solid when you look at the stats. 66% completions, close to 4,300 yards, 21 TDs to 11 INTs, a reasonable 92.4 passer rating. The stats don't blow off the page. You're going, oh my God, we got to replace this QB immediately. The eye test is a different story. When you watch Eli on the field, you say this is a quarterback who is clearly past his prime. He's surrounded with some pretty darn good skill position talent, and he can't seem to get them the football in space. The problem, of course, is if you dump Eli, who do you go get? Not a lot of great options out there for teams looking for QB. So, honestly, I ripped Eli all year. I ripped him last year. I don't see a better option on the table for the Giants in 2019. I think he comes back.
Yeah, and what Gettleman was talking about here, which I actually agree with, Teddy, there's a couple quotes that Gettleman has out there, and I think he has the right approaches because he's saying, all right, if Eli is not our quarterback next year, what is our plan B option? Do we just go out and get a Teddy Bridgewater? Do we go sign a Nick Foles to a big contract? Do we just try to jam, take that shoehorn and move up in the draft and try to get the quarterback, which we might not even believe is our future quarterback? So if you take an analytical approach to this and you sit back and say, well, the numbers do make sense, but you're right, Teddy. The eye test overall for the New York Giants and Eli Manning did not pass it. An offensive line that struggled to block, but yes, he has weapons. An all-world tailback, it seems like he's going to have a good career in the NFL. He's got some talented wide receivers and talented tight ends to work with. It should get better over time, but I just think they're in that crux of it is, how do you get better if the New York Giants, if Eli Manning is your quarterback next year? Because Father Time is catching up to everybody. Eli is not going to improve his arm, his leg work, his speed over the next offseason here. That's going to be a tough one, Teddy. But let's transition and keep it on the Giants here. Wide receiver Odell Beckham, always a lightning rod when you see him, whether he's partying at the club, being on the football field, am I playing this week, what his hair color is, what his cleats are, always going to be a circus around him. Gettleman keeps on getting the same question asked to him. Even though signing a huge contract last year, the press still says, is Odell Beckham Jr. still going to be with the Giants next year? Which he says, absolutely. I don't agree with trading Odell Beckham Jr., especially this early in his contract. What's your thoughts on that, Teddy? OBJ and the Giants.
When you have the elite playmakers, you hold on to them like nobody's business. And for all of OBJ's off-field issues, and frankly, if he wasn't in the New York media market, the off-field issues wouldn't even be off-field issues. It's just the fact that he's in the glare of the New York media spotlight that creates these quote-unquote problems. I don't think they're problems. OBJ is a unique talent, and you look at all the teams in the NFL that don't have playmakers, Giants have several. You hold on to those and find a QB that can feed him the football.
I completely agree with that. Let's keep it moving. We'll stay in the NFC East in this one, Teddy. Obviously, as tomorrow goes Football Friday, we're going to break down completely all four of these games on the weekend. But there are some tidbits here, some outliers that we want to talk about here. And that's EZEKIEL Elliott. Right now, raring to go, wants to play this football game, was put on the shelf in the last game versus the New York Giants to get him ready to be the bell cow for the playoffs heading forward. Teddy, looking at this game, we don't have to give a breakdown or analysis on this. To me, the key to the game is a healthy Cowboys offensive line. Zach Martin should be back for this football game. Also Tyron Jones. Why am I messing this one up here? Give me the tackle's left name. Tyron Smith. I'm sorry. We're on the fly here right now. But looking at these two tackles and running backs healthy for this game, he is key to this one. But we've seen it before, Teddy. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Does the Clapper, the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, give him the football enough in this game? And is he ready to answer the challenge, Teddy?
Well, some of it has to do with what's happening on the other end. Betting against Pete Carroll and the Seahawks in opening round playoff games hasn't exactly been a strategy that's paid off for bettors in Carroll's 6 previous playoff appearances with the Seahawks. They've won and covered every time in the first round. They didn't cover when they were laying at Minnesota. They won the game thanks to that Blair Walsh missed field goal. The bottom line is Seahawks have been very good in these first-round games. Dallas, obviously, in the Jason Garrett era, not so good in these opening round games, not so good in the postseason as a whole. That being said, Garrett made the right move to sit Zeke last week. The Seahawks defense, which we think of as dominant against the run, has not been dominant against the run this year. And if Dallas is going to win this game, it's not going to be Dak Prescott. It's going to be Zeke Elliott grinding it out on the ground. So the fact that he says, I'm ready to go right now, my mind, a positive sign for the Dallas Cowboys.
I like it, Teddy. And look, I'm going to pick your mind right now because I know you're going to love this as we do the show throughout the year. I'm a conspiracy theorist all the way through. Now, how many points are we going to give the Cowboys extra because the game is played in Jerry World where we see some mysterious fumbles sort of disappear and go back to the other football team or, infamous pass interferences of the Detroit Lions, Teddy? Are we getting a short line here? This line should be inflated an extra point or two because of how well Jerry Jones meshes with the league and the referees, especially at home.
You might be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. And this is why. It's 2019, okay? Whenever there's a conspiracy, it comes out, all right? It's really hard to hide stuff. Now, when you talk about are the Cowboys better for TV ratings or better for the league than the Seahawks? Not in a significant way. 20 years ago, maybe. Not in 2019. So if Dallas is going to win this game, I believe it will be fair and square. I'm not expecting the calls to go in Dallas's favor.
All right, let's transition over to the NBA, the association in full effect last night, Teddy. Late night, we talked about it yesterday. The Oklahoma City Thunder invading the Staples Center, coming away with the victory. If I would have told you up front, like, hey, Russell Westbrook's going to get another triple-double last night, Teddy. It took him 3 for 20 on shooting to get that. But alas, Oklahoma City comes in, gets the win, gets the cover. No LeBron James moving forward. Nice win for the Oklahoma City Thunder here. And I always like to point this out, too. It's kind of funny. Like, you're trying to recruit players. And Paul George, if we remember last year, Teddy, right? Signed, sealed, and delivered. Paul George is going to L.A. He's never going to stay in Oklahoma City. He stays there, goes after the victory. The fans boo him here. But nevertheless, you go on the road, you get a nice win over L.A. And LeBron needs to come back and help those Lakers out there, Teddy.
Well, it was all fourth quarter. I mean, the OKC has been consistently. And remember, they started the season 0-4. And since then, I believe they have the best record in the NBA, and it's all about defense. When the Thunder turn up the defensive intensity in the fourth quarter, like they did last night. I mean, the Lakers didn't have any open looks. They didn't have any transition opportunities. OKC defensively is at a different level than most teams in the NBA during crunch time. It was on full display last night. And of course, it's fun to see the fans booing Paul George every time. That's what makes the NBA fun, Yeah, he never said he was going to the Lakers. Everyone assumed he was going to go there, but Paul George's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to L.A.? No, he never said that. But now the Lakers fans get to hate him, and it's another rivalry in a league that has plenty of them. Fun game last night, exciting game. Congrats if you had an OKC ticket in your pocket. Lakers came up a little bit short during crunch time.
Yeah, I'll tell you, those Lakers fans, though, Teddy, when you take a look, right, apparently, I guess they're going to boo, Anthony Davis because he might not come there. If he doesn't come there next year, they might boo KD, sort of that little pampered style because, hey, we got Kobe Bryant here. We got Shaquille O'Neal. We got LeBron James here. Sort of expected there, but we'll see how they add on in the offseason because that seems more exciting sometimes than January and February basketball to see who might come, Teddy, in the next year or two there. Talking about LA sports franchises again in the news. Manny Machado, who was traded over to the Los Angeles Dodgers from the Baltimore Orioles. Still not signed yet, Teddy. And, as a sports fan, because my Philadelphia Phillies are still in it possibly for one of these two guys, but there's a lot of money at stake here. And one of the rare instances, in the NBA, like LeBron James sounds like 2 to 3 days after free agency starts. Same thing in the NFL. These guys don't need tours and wine and dine. And if we put your wife on the scoreboard, was that disrespectful if one city did it and another team didn't when they were courting them? Manny Machado on the table. Bryce Harper on the table. $300 million plus, Teddy, for both of these guys. Looks like they're going to anticipate. And the Phillies look like they're trying to extend it to over 10 years to Bryce Harper to make him come here. What is going on with baseball, Teddy? And why haven't we signed anybody yet? Why aren't these guys moving yet?
All right, multiple things to talk about here. First of all, what you see in the NBA is a hard salary cap. You don't have that in baseball. So teams are going to get X, players are going to get X, Y, and Z. They can get this from their current team and this from the other teams. And it's just a matter of where they want to go. No one can offer them more money. That's not the case in baseball. So that's why you see the NBA deals getting signed early. And in baseball, guys hang around on the shelf for week after week, in this case, month after month. Secondly, and let me make this very, very clear, you don't want to spend $300 million on Manny Machado, and you don't want to spend $300 million on Bryce Harper. And the two teams that sign these jerks are going to end up being very, very sorry for the signings and end up with these fat contracts where they're paying them $40 million a year at age 37 when they can't hit their way out of a wet paper bag.
Wait, what are you saying, Teddy? What are you saying?
Don't want
Pujols
Machado.
wasn't a good deal?
Don't want Harper. That's not the way to build a championship team, to spend $300 million on one guy. It's the wrong model. So get whoever you want. You want them. You want your Phillies want them? Go take them. Watch yourself. Second place, first round exit over and over again. Machado in particular. The guy's a jerk. All right, he's a flat-out jerk. Nobody likes him. His teammates didn't like him in Baltimore. His teammates didn't like him in L.A. Now you're going to pay him $300 million to be your franchise guy? Knock yourself out. Have a good time. No way.
No, I agree. The Manny Machado deal, which is interesting because obviously we'll take any one of these superstars in Philadelphia just to try to get up off the mat and have an interesting franchise for once. It's been a long time since the 2008 World Series, 2011 run with the four aces. But now looking forward here, sometimes styles mix. I think, Manny Machado is a perfect fit for Los Angeles. A little bit more laid back. If he comes east and he comes to the Yankees, you're going to expect him to perform at $300 million. Same thing with the Philadelphia Phillies. And his whole mantra, Teddy, of, you know what? I'm good sometimes running down the first base. I'm not really looking to hustle down there. We had Jimmy Rollins here, one of the centerpieces of our runs from 2008 all the way to 2011. And he used to not bust it down the line there, Teddy. So $300 million, we're expecting a lot, at least to get that runner down the line. One interesting point I do want to bring up, Teddy, about the baseball union, which I think is the best union in all of sports, usually pushing the guy. Doesn't matter where he wants to go. If another team's going to offer you substantially more, maybe 10, 20, 30 million over the life of a contract, they usually push you in the right direction, as is your duty for covering for the next guy coming up so he can make the money that you actually made and provided for your family as well. Looking at this situation, friendships here, Teddy, when we're talking about the Chicago Cubs, Chris Bryant, Bryce Harper, two Las Vegas guys, no surprise there that these guys get along. Will he take like a hometown discount for the Cubs? Is that a possibility? Or, like I say, will the union even allow it, saying, look, if the Phillies going to give you $325, you're not going to the Cubs for $275?
You bring up Jimmy Rollins, who I thought was a perfect example to bring up. Jimmy Rollins got paid, he got paid after the Phillies won their title, correct?
Yes.
You remember when he got his fat contract?
Yes, no, our GM was Ruben Amaro in Philadelphia, who said, you know what? You guys all earned it by winning it and paid these guys for 5 years too long, Teddy. So go ahead with your point. I'm about to agree with it.
Exactly. So Rollins won the title, got the contract, and then proceeded to, I'm not going to say single-handedly, but he sucked the Phillies organization down for years because they're paying him all that money. The team that signs Machado, the team that signs Harper will be dealing with those same situations, whether it's the Cubs I guess the Cubs do need bats. Their offense didn't work last year, but another bat isn't going to win a title. Pitching is going to win a title. It takes $300 million and just burn it before you give it to Machado. No way. You don't want these guys.
Yep, going against each other. Scott Boras out there just raising that price a little bit more, Teddy. I know we're, two old heads in this industry, but it wasn't too long ago that Alex Rodriguez and John Hicks, the owner of the Texas Rangers, where he was bidding against himself, Teddy, and paid an extra $50 to $100 million because he didn't know where the other buyer was. Baseball, fascinating sport to me with the negotiations.